Chris, just how are you kind of trying to use this little bit of time that you have right now to?
It's very similar to the last series. So things we can draw upon there. Today is a heavy individual day. A lot of things that we want to try to do individually and then in small groups, and then get up and down over the next couple days, and then figure out obviously who we're playing after Game 7. Working on both game plans simultaneously. There's not a ton of commonalities between the way the teams play, but there are things I think we can do to get better, things we might want to do and use, regardless of who we're playing. So,
just in terms of especially your young guys, the second bite at the apple for them, can you notice a difference, or is it different going into this with having last year's experience under their belts?
Yeah, I mean, certainly last year's experience helps a ton, and that's what really this is all about, is like layering these experiences on top of each other so you can draw from them time and again, gain confidence. Last year's second round against Denver was one of the wildest series I've seen in my time in the NBA, just the ebbs and flows of it. This year, second round versus Golden State, particularly once Steph went out, it was just a business-like approach. Really, really liked that. We were the better team. We felt we were the better team. We just had to go out and play like it every night. I thought we accomplished that. I think those are things that we've drawn upon from our previous experiences for sure. Now we just challenge the guys to kind of go back a year, think about how they felt after the Dallas series and the things that were in their mind at that point in time that they needed to do different or felt that they needed to learn from. Try to tap into that now, just individually, to put themselves in the right frame of mind for what it's going to take to keep taking these steps.
Well, Jake, you work out in the game. That's so given the familiarity you guys have with Denver, do you lean more into maybe prep for OKC because you're so familiar with Denver and their personnel, or do you try to split?
No, we'll split the time equally for sure. This next series is a little bit more standard in that the last two teams that we've played, we hadn't played that version of that team. Going into, we didn't play Lakers with Luka really that much. I mean, played them I think maybe one time, and we didn't play Golden State with Jimmy. So, this is a little bit more like what we'd seen through the regular season, even though teams obviously are doing different things and slightly, slight changes here and there as teams evolve. But
does David Adelman coming in and using different bench players, does that make it more challenging?
Yeah, he's definitely done some things that are different, and just I think around the margins, some things I think that they've really benefited from. But fundamentally, the way that they play stylistically, where the threats are, et cetera, that's all remains the same. So,
Chris, last year this time Mike was really laboring with that injury. Do you just have a little bit more option with him going into this one, or did you have to be wary of what he was going through last year?
Well, all year long it was a priority to try to manage Mike proactively better. I thought last year he rolled his ankle, I think was the primary reason, but I'm sure over time, the minutes he played a lot heavier minutes coming down the stretch and into the playoffs. We're still managing him through the playoffs. I still try to, keep as many minutes in the tank for him as I possibly can, whether it be in the game or in the series. So, and he's seemingly kind of rolled with that. Maybe every night it's been a little bit different, like when he goes in, when he comes out. It never seems to bother him, so that's a benefit there.
Is that hard to do? Just
knowing
what he?
Yeah, it might be hard. I mean, it might be hard for most players, but I think Mike is just kind of, takes everything as it comes. Like in the Lakers series, I took him out after 4 minutes because I wanted to get to a certain rotation, and then he would sit for a long time, and then he would play maybe the start of the second. Now we take him out more around the traditional time. We don't always go back with him. We kind of feel out what the game's needed right then and there. Understanding in the first half, I'd like to try to save some minutes if I can so we can use them however we need to in the second half. So, But he always stays ready and seemingly always finds a way to contribute when he's called upon. So.
What's it like to work with a GM, the president of basketball operations, where the title is the two, is that willing to make bold moves that might not be well received immediately?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the hallmarks of all the great GMs or front office leaders is that they're not afraid to make moves, whether it be go out and acquire talent, upgrade the roster continually, or the other side of it is move on from mistakes when they've been made. I think Tim has got a great feel for the game. He has a great feel for what team needs. I take it as a compliment that he has confidence in us to be able to figure it out along the way. And we've got a pretty good flexibility, pretty good, characteristic of flexibility through the roster in the way guys can play, play with a number of different types of players. So that makes it a little bit more seamless too. But it's also fun. It keeps it fun and exciting in terms of being able to try and figure out how to reinvent yourself.
Chris, the tone for Ant after Game 5 was we haven't done anything yet.
Right.
How much has that bled over the rest of the team in a different tone? I know last year Game 7 after isolation, after the way you won in Game 7 against the Nuggets, but how is it different?
I think it's exactly the mindset that we need right now. I mean, we made a big deal of challenging these guys from day one of getting back to this point in time, but that is not as an accomplishment unto itself. It's more about a validation of who we are as a program and who we want to continue to be, and what it takes and the level of focus and determination just to get to this point. And we're only halfway from our ultimate goal. So, but again, these are the cumulative experiences that you learn when you go through this time and time again. And I think that's where the league is right now. Like, we haven't seen back-to-back champions in a number of years. I think it's just about putting yourself in a position to take as many bites at the apple as you possibly can get.
So with Ant, his previous playoffs, are kind of marked by these big scoring, 30 plus, 40 plus nights. Closeout game, he has 12 assists.
Yes.
Same thing in the Lakers series.
Yeah.
Where, his playmaking, his patience, was a big part of it. How have you seen him just overall approach these two series that's maybe different from the previous three?
I think he's been, first of all, outstanding. I think he's set the tone for the most part, coming into a series, understanding like how they were going to guard him, and then he just kind of moves with the series, and some of those big numbers assist wise and closeout games because they've changed. He's forced them to change the way that they've guarded him. And then when they do that, he realizes how that's going to benefit others or how that might open up things for himself differently. So he's stayed patient. He's played the long game, but yet he's still been aggressive. He's found ways and put opportunities in the game to do what he normally does, which is kind of put a run together and take over the game.
Kind of along the same page to Julius. Sometimes the ball will get out of his hands really fast. Sometimes he absorbs a double team.
Right.
Have you noticed about his patience and that playmaking skills as well in these series?
Yeah, well, he's been huge. I mean, he's hit a lot of timely baskets for us, whether they be in the flow or in isos where we're giving him the ball. He's still maintained his playmaking. I thought he's really kind of picking all the right options right now, for sure. A lot of times he'll have matchup advantages, and he uses that for himself and to draw for his teammates. And those two guys are really playing well, like off each other in the flow. Like, it's not that they have this incredible two-man game like a Jokic Murray but they really understand the rhythm of how each other are playing, and they're like not in each other's way, but they're really kind of, and it's not take turn either, but it's just kind of this seamless flow that they're both playing off of, and that's fun to watch.
How does Ant's personality affect Steve?
I mean, he makes it fun. He makes it interesting, and he always believes that we're going to have a chance. He just believes that he's got incredible confidence, and that confidence is fused through his teammates. And he's become a truth teller, as part of his leadership. He's not afraid to say what needs to be said in the moment, whether it's encouraging or whether it's, more of get on his teammates, etc. Or, so his leadership dynamics are kind of, which we've seen all season, are kind of really kind of crystallizing right now. So. Thanks, guys. Yeah.